Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Josie Fuentes, and my topic for today is the project management. What is project management? Project management is the process of leading the work of a team to achieve goals and meet success criteria at a specified time. The primary challenge of project management is to achieve all of the goals within the given constraint. Project management involves the planning and organization of a company's resources to make a specified task, event, or duty towards completion. It can also involves a one-time project or an ongoing activity, and resources managed include personnel, finances, technology, and intellectual property. Next is we have 5 phases of a project management. According to PMI, project management is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to a broad range of activity in order to meet the requirements of a particular project. There are 5 phases of project management, and if the life cycle provides a high-level view of the project, the phases are the roadmap to accomplishing it. First is we have project initiation. Project initiation is the start of the project, and the goal of this phase is to define the project at the broad level. This phase usually begins with a business case. This is when you will research whether the project is feasible and if it is should be undertaken. If feasibility testing needs to be done, this is a stage of the project is in which that will be completed. Next is the project planning. This phase is key to success project management and focuses on developing a roadmap that everyone will follow. This phase typically begins with setting goals. Two of the more popular method of setting goals are SMART and the clear goals. Here we have SMART goals. SMART goals is the method helps ensure the goals have been thoroughly vetted. It also provides a way to clearly understand the implication of the goal settings process. Here we have S from the word specific. Specific is to set specific goals. Here we have a following questions that you will be given. We have who, what, where, when, which, and why. Next is the measurable. Measurable is create criteria that you will use to measure the success of a goal. Next is letter A, attainable. Identify the most important goals and what it will take to achieve them. Next is realistic. You should be willing and able to work toward a particular goal. Lastly is timely. Create time frame to achieve the goal. Next is we have the clear goals. A clear goals is a newer method. Usually kasi, di ba ginagamit natin is a smart goals. Kasi ito yung main na ginagawa ng project management. Clear goals is a newer method of setting goals that takes into consideration the environment of today's fast-paced business. Here we have collaboration. Goals should encourage employees to work together. Next is limited. They should be limited in scope and time to keep it manageable. Next is emotional. Goals should tap into passion of employees and be something they can form an emotional connection to. This can optimize the quality of work. Next is appreciable. Break larger goals into smaller tasks that can be quickly achieved. Next is refinable. As a newer situation arises, the flexible and refined goals as needed. During this phase, the scope of the project is defined and the project management plan is developed. It involves identifying the cost, quality, available resources, and the realistic timetable. Next is we have at this time rules and responsibility are clearly defined so everyone involved knows what they are accountable for. Here are some of the documents of PM or project management will create during this phase to ensure the project will stay on track. First is we have scope statement. A document that will clearly defines the business need, benefits of the project, objectives, deliverables, and key milestones. A scope statement may change during the project, but it shouldn't be done without the approval of the project manager and the sponsor. Next is the breakdown schedule or WBS. This is a visual presentation that breaks down the scope of the project into manageable section of the team. Next is the milestones. Identify high-level goals that need to be met throughout the project and include them in the Gantt chart. Gantt chart is a visual timeline that you can use to plan out tasks and visualize your planned timeline. Next is plan communication plan. This is of particular importance if your project involves outside stakeholders. Develop the proper messaging around the project and create a schedule of when to communicate with team members based on the deliverables and milestones. Next is risk management plan. It identifies all foreseeable risks. Common risks include unrealistic time and cost estimates, customer view cycle, budget cuts, changing requirements, and lack of committed resources. Next is phase 3, the project execution. Project execution, this phase where deliverables are developed and completed. This often feels like the meat of the project since a lot of happening during this time, like status reports and meetings. Development during development updates and performance reports. A kick-off meeting usually marks the start of project execution phase, where the teams involved are informed of their responsibilities. These are the tasks completed during the phase include develop team, assign resources, execute project management plans, procurement management if needed, PM directs and manages project execution, set up tracking, set up tracking system, tasks assignments are executed, status meetings update project schedule, and modified project plans. While the project monitoring phase has a different set of requirements, these two phases often occur simultaneously. Next is the phase 4, project performance or monitor. Project managers will use performance indicators or KPIs to determine if the project is on track. This is all about measuring project progression and performance and ensuring that everything happening aligns with the project management plan. We have project objectives, measuring if the project is on schedule and budget is an indication if the project will meet stakeholder objectives. Next is the quality deliverables. This determines if specific task deliverables are being met. Next is effort and costs tracking. PMs will account for the effort and cost of resources to see if the budget is on track. This type of tracking information infos if a project will meet its completion date and based on current performance. Next is project performance. This monitors changes in the project. It takes into consideration the amount and types of issues that arise and how quickly they are addressed. This can occur from unforeseen hurdles and scope changes. Lastly, we have project closure. This phase represents the completed project or the final project. Once the project is complete, PMs still have a few tasks to complete. So, ano nga ba yung mga few tasks to complete. They will need to create a project punch list of things that didn't get accomplished during the project and work with the team members to complete them. Perform a final project budget and prepare the final project report. Finally, they will need to collect all project documents and deliverables and store them in a single place. Here we have the 8th step of creating a project timeline. First, we have write a project scope statement. It determines the scope of your project is another part of the project management process and you need to complete before you can create your project timeline. A project scope statement outlines the deliverables you plan to produce by the end of the project. For example, let's say you and your friend want to plant a garden. A scope statement could look something like this. We will produce a 100 square meter feet 100 square feet deliver vegetable garden that produce tomatoes, peppers, kale, potatoes, peas, greens, beans, and corn. Next is the create a work breakdown structure. To create a work breakdown structure, start from your scope statement and break your deliverables or into small pieces. You aren't getting into task yet, just smaller deliverables. Another name for this section is the scope baseline, and each sub-deliverables are called work package. For example, you have 10 square feet of tomatoes and 10 square feet of peppers, 15 square feet of kale, 20 square feet of potatoes, 15 square feet of peas, 10 square feet of green beans, 20 square feet of the corn. This would be the example of for creating a work breakdown structure. Next is they break each work package into tasks. Now you can make a to-do list for each work package. Think about the gap between your baseline and your goal that you need to happen to get from the starting point to desired endpoint. For example, you make a task list for 2 of your mini garden work packages and organize. This would be organized. Here we have this would be a table. You have to separate this 10 square feet of tomatoes and 10 square feet of green beans. Under 10 square feet of tomatoes, we have till ground, fertilize, dirt, buy tomatoes, plant, buy tomato cage, plant tomatoes, cage tomatoes, water tomatoes, weed tomatoes. And under of 10 square feet of green beans, till ground, fertilize dirt, buy green bean plant, buy trellis materials, set up trellis, plant green beans, water green beans, and weed green beans. Next is the determine project dependencies. Dependencies are tasks that cannot be started until another task has been completed. For example, you can plant your tomatoes until after ground has been tilled. In this scenario, determining dependencies for the project management timeline will be relatively straightforward, but for more complex process, mapping dependencies will uh, give you a few gray hairs. Next is identify resources availability. Most often, your limiting resource will be availability of your team members or employees. In this step, you need to consider when they will be able to spend time working on an allotted tasks, even though it may only take a day of dedicating work to complete and assign. You may need to expand the amount of designated time to a few days or even weeks if there are many other projects occurring simultaneously. In the garden example, it will only take few hours from start to finish, but while everything else going on, your team will need 2 weekends to get it done. Therefore, you create project timeline. Will reserve several days for each task. Next is identify important milestone. Here, project milestone allows you to track the progress of your projects from start to finish. This way, if you get behind, we'll know far in advance of your final deadline and be able to adjust your plans or expectations to stay on target. Lastly, we have build your project management timeline. This is the fun part. It's time to create your project timeline, line your tasks end to end. Adjust your length to reflect the amount of timeline allotted, and then add milestone to polish things off. And you have a complete project management timeline. That's it. And thank you.